a couple things I want to talk about was, one, I wanted to talk about a tool that we have just developed and are using this year. It's called our Missions Team Outcome Proposal Tool. So just to give you some history, Cassie and I went to One Hope's organization down in Fort Lauderdale early this year, like in January. We were invited maybe with only like 20 other churches. There's probably a room of like this size, maybe 20 people at the most. And it was like this 2-day super intensive workshop all about how do you do missions at your church. So it was with other ARC pastors from missions departments. And it was like one of the coolest, it wasn't a conference, I guess it was a workshop. It was like the best workshop I have ever been to. So one of the concepts that Cassie and I learned out of that, actually Pastor Dave Breaker was there too, was this whole concept of outputs versus outcomes. So we've started to take this idea and infiltrate it in our missions department, and I think some other ministries that we've shared with have started to do this as well. But the whole idea is output says something like, at Celebration Church, we had 33 mission trips last year. Outcome says something like, at Celebration Church, we had 33 mission trips last year, and our partners rated our teams a 7 out of 10 on average when asked, how effective was the team in accomplishing the predetermined goal or objective? That's a mouthful. So basically the difference, if you can kind of see the difference, one speaks to like activity. There is definitely a numerical component to both, but one speaks to activity and one speaks to like measurable impact. So our church is just kind of in a season, and I know I'm definitely in this season in the missions department with more trips isn't necessarily better. I want to do what we do with great excellence. I want every single mission leader, every single team member to know exactly what are they set out to do when they go on the field, and then be able to come back and say, hey, we made an impact and we know exactly what kind of impact we made. So not that anything we were doing in the past was bad or was insignificant or anything like that. I just think we can do better. And I think we can get more purposeful and collaborate more with our partners to get that much more effective and to really just spread the word about what we're doing in missions and to be able to build upon it. So I've kind of just made this little tool, if you want to bring it up, Andrea. So this is just kind of something that I've put together, and then I start to talk with with you guys, mission leaders, about it probably once the airplane tickets are bought, because that's about the time that you kind of know who's on your team, and that's when you can actually start to speak to the objective of your trip. Kind of before that, you'll have an idea of what you're doing. Like for Sisterhood, you'll have an idea of what you're doing before your airfare is purchased, but you'll really know once we know who's on the team. That's when the partners really ask me, okay, who's on the team? What skills do they bring to the table? Not just in ministry, not just like where do they serve, but also maybe like job skills. Maybe you can draw. Maybe you can do carpentry. Maybe you can do something, a skill set in your normal work job that would be super, super valuable. Like we're learning from our partners that any technical, lighting, anything, IT, anything technical is hugely, hugely valuable. Graphic design, stuff like that, to our partners. Okay, so let's just walk you through it. So I just kind of put like a mission statement on this proposal. So this is something that I put together and then share with you as the missions leader as well as our partners. So I kind of wanted to put a mission statement on it. Outputs versus outcomes, or we're abandoning the idea of more mission trips means greater kingdom impact. Instead, we want to measure the impact that is made on the lives of those we served abroad. Our goal is to send mission teams to serve the objective of our partner churches and ministries. Okay, so we kind of just fill in some, like this is from the Sub-30 trip, we kind of just fill in some information that we'll need to know in order to put the purpose of the trip together. Then I ask the partner, if there's one thing you want this team to accomplish or do, what is that one outcome? Please be as specific as possible. So like for example, Liz's trip to Northern Ireland that she came back on, Pastor John Scott actually had a lot of different things he wanted the team to do, but as just a starting point, I'm just asking our partner, okay, if you can just narrow down what's the one thing, and we'll go from there, because I'm asking them to measure that one thing when the team returns back into Jacksonville. So then I'm also asking the partner to define that outcome. So I'm asking them, how will we know if and when the team accomplished that outcome, goal, or objective, and then be ready to rate it when the team comes back on a scale of 1 to 10. So this is basically, we're in the collecting data stage. We're gonna know, I'm basically helping to cast vision for the partner to get really specific and maybe more planned out than maybe some of our partners are. Like I know Pastor John Scott, he's super planned out, but maybe some of our other partners, they may need help with like thinking about where this is gonna go. Now I will say with LA Dream Center, it's probably the only partner we're with where I don't think I'll be using this tool with them. Everywhere else we go, we'll be using this tool with Israel, with Haiti, with Costa Rica, with Northern Ireland, with Zimbabwe. Okay, then team notes. So this is kind of where I like to put another big thing that determines your mission trip's purpose or objective is who's on the team and what skills do they bring to the table. So as you can see, Jessica likes to bring the plate. I just felt that it happened. But like we didn't list everyone out. There were like 19 people on this team, so it was a huge team. But normally I'd list out every single person, and then I'd get from you guys, okay, what skills do they bring to the table? So this is, if you don't know your team yet, it's definitely kind of get to know. Also, you can, on the online application, I believe there's a space where they can put where the occupation is, where they're currently serving, what they have a heart for. So if there's some people on your team you don't know yet, you can always use that as a reference. But basically, as soon as we buy airfare, I'll be asking the leaders, okay, who's on your team, and help me kind of land this, so that we can propose it to our partners, so that they can kind of see, well, maybe we'll formulate our trip's purpose around what you guys bring to the table. That's all right. Then, like for example, most of the team are first-time missionaries, which that's like a really good thing to know as your hosting team. Like, is this everyone's third time, or is this everyone's first time? So that's a good thing for our partner to know. And then, yeah, some other notes for that specific team. Then, okay, for the sub-30 team, they had some ideas of what they wanted to do. Not every trip or every team is like this. Some team leaders, some of you guys have very, like, we want to do this, we want to do that, and that's great. We always want to put it out there as a proposal. We want to submit it to our leaders. I always want the campus pastor or the missionary partner to have the final say. We always want to submit ourselves to the local church and what they're doing and being sensitive to what's going to make the most impact on their end. But I think it's great when our teams, like this team was huge. They had a huge amount for project money, $950. And they had an idea, so if you want to scroll down a little bit, to maybe the last page, skip the second page. So they put together, Jessica put together, they had an idea to do the soccer tournament. So she put it together, she listed out what they were going to need. So she planned out this event. We submitted it to Spencer and the guys at 6-8, and they were like, well, I think this is awesome. And then you scroll up a little bit, Andrea, and then I just included like a little task sheet. So let's say you do something like an event or a sisterhood event or anything that would create tasks. If you as a leader want to use this to help delegate tasks to people on your team, as well as like, oh, what about that? I think we need to ask Spencer about that once we get on the ground, or maybe somebody in Costa Rica needs to purchase something way in advance. So it kind of just helps land it all in place. So that's a tool we just introduced this year. It's been working well so far, and now I know we only had one mission trip in January. That was the 300 Northern Ireland trip. Then in June we had 6 trips. So basically I want to say we have around 30 trips again this year. It might be 31, 32. I keep hearing of more trips happening. I'm like, hey, that's another trip. Hey, I'll put on that on my dashboard. Come to my office. But so we're just planning trips without us. I'm like, that's awesome. Can I include that on? But what was I saying? I had a thought. Just left me. Okay, too much caffeine. Okay, so that's basically the idea behind the missions outcome proposal. Any questions about that? You guys like it? Thumbs up? Okay. Now, Andrea.